to interview number, I've lost track, is it 10? I think it's number 10, with Karla McDiarmid from Macquarie MediSpa. I'm really, really excited to interview Karla. So firstly, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for everybody to nominating me to be interviewed.
You were certainly first on the list for a lot of people. So just quickly before we get into that, so my name's Billy Rickman. I'm the CEO of XY Skin and Body Specialist franchise and also the XY Buying Group. And approximately 2 months ago, I started on this journey to interview the top 100 successful salon and spa owners in Australia. And I'll emphasize Australia, but the only reason I'll emphasize Australia is because we're going to get to a point about Karla in a second. I've interviewed some amazing people, and so this is interview number 10 on the list. And the whole purpose of this journey was to interview some of the best minds to find out what they're doing in their business, how they're doing it, and to hopefully inspire, motivate, and encourage others to adopt similar practices and to grow their own businesses. So without further ado, I know we've said welcome, but it's awesome having you here, Karla. I met Karla. We're just trying to figure it out there about 4 years ago. I think we were sitting next to each other at the ABIS. Yeah, and little did I know how much of a superstar Karla was. So I feel incredibly humbled to have you here today, Karla.
Thank you. And I remember that night you won.
No, I didn't. Oh, yeah. Do you remember
you did win.
No, I didn't win, but do you remember I took that photo and put it on my Facebook wall with someone else's trophy, and then it got out of control. And people were like, "Oh, congratulations!" I was like, "Oh no, it was just a joke." I think we'd had too much wine, but it was a really fun night. I won the next year, I think.
Okay, I was there that year too.
Yeah. So yesterday I had the insane privilege of interviewing Sia Sakaris from Beautyologist, and as I went through, one of the first things I did with Sia is I went through her list of achievements and accomplishments. Because she has just won award after award after award. And you would know yourself, being an ABIS regular, that, you would have heard Sia and Beautyologist repeated all the time. And so the reason I lead into that is because I'm incredibly humbled, like I said before, because now I'm just going to go through your accolades and your achievements so far. I think I just might have lost you for a second. Hopefully, are you back there, Karla?
Yep.
Okay,
yep,
cool.
I can hear you.
I lost you just for a second. So I'm just going to go through your accolades because they're pretty nuts. 2015 World Luxury Spa Awards for Best Spa Manager in Oceania. You doubled and went back-to-back on that award and won the Best Spa Manager in Oceania at the World Luxury Spa Awards again in 2016. In 2000,
this year and last year.
2006 and 2017. Okay, cool. In 2016, you won the Best Boutique Beauty Salon.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
And this next one here just knocked my socks off. I couldn't believe it. Was you won the Best Beauty Salon in the world. Is that?
I know. It was amazing. It was held in Vietnam this year, the awards. They're just incredible.
Right. So you went up against, I know we just touched on it just briefly as we were talking just before we went into the recording, but you were up against like billion-dollar salons and spas, and Macquarie MediSpa won the best beauty salon in the world. And I posed the question to you: was it size related? Was it? I know at the ABIS they do like 3 room, 4 room, 5 room, 10 room. Was it size related? No, there was no other specification other than the fact that you had to be a beauty salon or a day spa, and you won the best in the world.
Yeah, all thanks to our customers vote for us. And I really believe being in a regional community like Bathurst, your customers just support you through and through. And so then we get nominated. We obviously would have won higher up the ranks, and then to have the people who are the judges, then they check out all the salons and they'll check your social media, your websites, and obviously then they came up with us being the winner.
That is so cool.
That's pretty cool.
So cool. That's awesome. And it doesn't stop there. So in 2017 at the ABIS, you won Best Spa Manager Director, and you also won Salon Team of the Year for 2017. Is that right?
We did, for our Bathurst team. So it was just incredible because we've been here in Bathurst for over 16 and a half years. So it's amazing.
Wow. And so I kind of feel I feel so lucky and blessed to be speaking to all these amazing salon owners. And I don't believe that anything in business or anything in life, I don't believe in coincidence really or luck. I think there's a certain formula, a certain secret to success. And if you do certain things in the same order, in the same way, you will get the same result. And so that was the reason why I wanted to interview people like yourselves. And certainly looking at Sears Awards yesterday and all the other people that I've interviewed so far and looking at awards today, I'm certainly in that, surrounded by those people, interviewing those people. So I really want to dig into your mind today and to ask you a couple of questions about your success and see how you've got to where you've got to. And I'm just going to say before we start, I said to Karla just before we started, I said, I really don't like interviewing all these, amazing females being next to them on interview because I look like I've just woken up today and Karla looks absolutely stunning. So maybe that's what I need to do, start working on my appearance a little bit more as well. But all that being said, tell me a little bit about Karla McDiarmid and tell me a little bit about your background. And I know that you opened the salon, I know the salon started 16 and a half years ago, but you didn't actually start it. So I'd love to hear all about the background and how you got to the owner and director and whatnot of Macquarie MediSpa.
Yeah. So I trained in Bondi Junction at the Sanctuary College in 98. So I'm coming up to my 20 years in the industry.
Wow.
And I've been a Bathurst girl, born and bred, but I did go down to Sydney for training and lived down in Sydney for a few years. I was really fortunate. I picked up a job with Dermalogica, so I got my sort of hand in the door at learning how those big companies work and good customer service and the marketing and learning all of that from it as a teenager, working for a company like that and working for their skincare centre that they opened in Mossman. So really looking at 5-star service. That I got taught that from a very young age. Also working at the Observatory Spa, which is a 5-star hotel back in the day, and learning that sort of side of the service back then. And then coming back to Bathurst, the lady that I'd first started with, who I think you might interview later, Terry Shue. Terry had the salon Macquarie Skincare. Yeah, and Terry was selling, and I'd actually started. The way I got into beauty was my Year 10 work experience. So Terry was the one that gave me my work experience, and then from there I just went off to study. There was no apprenticeship, so I went off to college that Terry recommended, and went from there. And then when Terry was selling, she said, I want to talk to you, and just went from there. That's it.
Right. So how much
change?
Right. It's such an interesting journey because, and that's one of the things I'm learning as well, is that each of the people I'm interviewing, even though I said just before there's a formula for success, interestingly, none of the backgrounds seem to be the same. And your background seems to be one of, like you said, 5-star service. It seems like since you started, you were in a big company. You worked with businesses that were very, very big on customer service. So how much of an influence do you think that has placed on your success at the moment, so far?
Huge. There are lots. And I always try and teach that to the girls. Only on the weekend I was talking to one of my employees, and I pulled her up on her Aussie slang. And I said, that's not how we talk to our customers, because so much of it is about our language and how we talk to people and how we communicate and our body language. So I think it's really important. And you taught that from a young age when you work in those sort of businesses of how you need to be. So how it has to happen.
And have you brought that, so you say you pulled someone up on it yesterday or whenever it was, but is this documented in your business? Do you have we speak a lot about culture and values in businesses. Do you have all this documented, or is it just part of the unwritten laws of Macquarie?
Some is definitely documented, but probably Aussie slang's not sort of documented. That's more when you're in your training, getting them through. But it's really hard with a 16-year-old, if that's how they talk at home, to try and shift that talk. We've really got to probably set up a course on how to talk. But I remember years ago in Bathurst, we set up a slang jar. So the no worries, the see you later. They got fined 20 cents you had to put into the slang
like
jar.
A swear jar.
It worked. It got rid of all of that, like catch you later, see ya. And it really changed. That's how a lot of country people actually talk. So it is hard to train the girls how to have that. I try and say to them, we've got to be like a 5-star hotel, because people are coming here and they expect an experience that they won't get at a salon down the road. That's why they're coming to the best. So it is really important.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your business. For people who don't know a lot about your particular MediSpa, I know you went through a rebrand a couple of years ago. So can you talk a little bit about the journey of the business itself, how it started, what sort of model it was, and then has that model adapted and changed? And if so, where does it sit right now? So people can understand when we're talking about, okay, I can picture this, this type of advice in this sort of model and whatnot.
Yeah. So starting out many years ago with it, there was only, say, 3 staff, and changing everything completely, because so many people are probably on that journey of taking over a salon. So I took over, I changed things, you change the menu, you'll change the colouring, the branding. I think I've changed the branding 4 or 5 times over the years, just as everything's evolving. And I think more staff came on. I was quite a bit more stricter with training. I like the girls to all have that same standard. So some people would find that a bit too strict, but when you come onto Macquarie, that's what you know, is that the clients are going to get the same treatment, same level. And then we sort of, a few years ago, that shift from day spas, because nobody had time to go to the day spa. They didn't have a day left. And everybody wanted that quick treatments. They wanted results. I remember consulting with Kieran Withers, and she was amazing for me to chat to about this whole shift. And she was about to write an article on the exact same thing of how the industry is changing. So off we went. We rebranded to Macquarie MediSpa, completely gutted the whole building and rebuilt the salon back out again. Complete change. And it was the best thing we ever did, because the business is now probably more doubled, tripled since. So yeah. If people are of taking on, it is a big jump, it is a big investment, spending a lot of money, but it is going to be worth it in the long run.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the rebranding, because I did a rebrand probably about 4 years ago now, 5 years, probably maybe around the same time you did. And I was speaking to Robert McAlpine. She was our first interview actually, and she just rebranded from Laser Effects to Skintifics. And I've been following her latest posts on Instagram and Facebook about she's got a new website and brochures that she's all in love with. And it really is an exciting time when you do a rebrand. You kind of feel like you're having a little bit of an increase in every standard and every touch point in your business. So how was that journey for you? A lot of people, like you said, people who are thinking about doing and making that big step, I think one of the biggest challenges or the biggest risk, I suppose, that you took was not that you just did a rebrand, but you completely rebranded the model of your business as well, right? You went from day spa to MediSpa. So can you talk to us a little bit about that process, and did you have any unnerving moments, and what were the challenges and what were the rewards for that process?
Definitely the biggest challenge, especially when you're redoing the whole salon, was moving to another location for 6 to 8 weeks while you're refitting. So our vision was all, we were only moving around the corner, and we're right under a shopping centre. So we're all pushing trolleys with wax pots and everything around the corner to the building. So
the non-glamorous side of it, of beauty.
And the girls actually loved it. They loved building together a new little pop-up store, which we created a pop-up store, and then we came back to the MediSpa. And for them to have input in how it's being set up, the girls just loved it. We had so much fun because we got to have another opening. We did a whole new opening. We had the mayor of Bathurst, we had the local member, and the mayor cut the... It was just fun. So if you can get that exposure at the same time and invite all your VIPs, like it's a whole new party. The clients were so excited for something new. And then we just went on that wave. We had new treatments, added more products to the lineup of the retail, just being able to do different things. And like the clients, and they've just loved it and they've thrived. And then you just see the success of the business from it. So if anybody's thinking about it, I'm happy to answer any questions on that. And it was the best thing we ever did. I only wish we did it sooner.
Yeah.
That's probably the only regret, is that you don't keep putting it off and thinking, oh, it's a lot of money, it's this. But because the industry was changing so quickly. So you had to keep up with it.
Yeah. Was there any negative effects of it? Except for the cash flow.
The pop-up store was interesting because the clients are funny. They don't like change. So they didn't like that they now were on a main street. So we're in a tucked away private location, which actually works so well for us because people can just duck in and out for their treatments. But then we moved to a main street, which you would think would be great for other reasons, retail and that sort of thing. But the clients actually hated it. They didn't like, having their Botox with the doctor or nurse and then having to go into a street, or having a spray tan and having to walk out in a main street. So and then the noise from, ambulances going past. I thought I would never have a beauty salon on a main street. that affected it, because I think a few clients didn't want to come in. They were going to wait till we came in back into the new one. So your money was down probably a little bit there. There was not really any negatives. It was more fun. It was obviously with the building side of thing, there was always issues with the builders not following what they're meant to do, or people you're working with for interior decorating didn't go to plan. But it was all part of learning. It was really fun, and it was great. Like, I thought, I should go on the block. I thought I could do all this. It's easy.
That's awesome. So when you took over, when you first started in business, I said this is the same thing to see yesterday when I interviewed her. It's such a steep learning curve, and I've got a new franchise opening this week. I think this week in Tasmania. No, 2 weeks in Tasmania, and it. Even though I think this is now the 14th clinic that I've opened, I think 14th, 15th clinic I've opened, and working directly with franchisees, it seems that no matter how much I verbalize to them how steep the learning curve is when you get into business, there's nothing that can quite prepare you for it. It takes you into another world, and it becomes all-consuming. So I'd love to know about when you first started in business. So your first day as a business owner, or leading up to that first day as a business owner. How was that first period of, it's kind of like for me when I was a parent, when I first had a son, and when I first had my son, and it was okay when we first had Jack, and then we had Ash's mum with us for a week, and then after Ash's mum went for a week, we were kind of like, what do we do now? It's kind of like, the buck stops with you. And I kind of think back to business, kind of think the same thing. It's like, okay, so what do I do now? And then, of course, there's a lot of people to support you, but how was your journey through that? And what were the big lessons you learned?
There was good and bad in it, and I'd do it differently if I could, I suppose. But I started off, I was working there as a therapist, just sussing out the business, which is a really good way to do it. So I was building up my clientele. So I was fully booked quite quickly, because I was a facialist from Sydney that just did facials basically down in Sydney. And so the clients just loved what I came and brought to town. So the hardest thing was actually being a full-time therapist trying to be a business owner. And that took many, many years to realise that just it doesn't work. And it took me, I think I got to 9 years where you stopped working Saturdays. And then, you could cut one day, and then I started doing my office days. But before that, it was, you were superwoman. You did everything. Yeah. I don't know how it operated without the internet back then, because I remember faxing things. And it was so hard being a full-time therapist, but you're meant to be running a business. So you weren't really running the business. It was running you. And the staff obviously were a little bit ruffled when you've come in as one of their fellow friends, and then you've now got to be the manager or the owner. So that's a really tough one that I think I'd probably look at differently if I was to do it again. Mm-hmm. In which I've just opened up in Orange last year, so it was all fresh.
Congratulations.
Didn't buy an existing salon. So I think for anyone doing that challenge, that's really hard to be a hands-on therapist running a business with other staff if you're taking over a new business. You've sort of got to have that. You've got to be the therapist, or you've got to be the owner. It's just really hard to do it all and get it down pat amazing. Like, the business to be making profit is really hard when you're not working on it and you're just in it.
So is that your advice to people now who are listening to this interview? If you're still working on the floor, you're still doing treatments, navigate your way away from that.
Definitely a little bit. Like, I think you could still do 1 or 2 days a week. 2 days would be pushing it. But I think my business, Macquarie, only started going uphill and really shining when I stopped doing treatments. And
wow, that's interesting.
Totally changed the life of the business completely. And that's the hardest part. And that's why we now have a second business, and why we can afford, new equipment, and we can do more things, because there's someone actually driving it. And other than that, it was just on its own.
Yeah.
So but I know so many beauty therapists and salon owners have asked me before, how do you get off the tools? Like, how do you stop? And what I love now is that I'm available if there is someone sick, or if something happens, I can step in and help. It's not such a drama. I can do the skin analysis days. I can help clients when they come in, because they still want your help with skincare and products. So I can do more. I can make more in retail sales than doing the actual treatments. So if you can train your staff, so then I became the trainer, and I just made sure everybody trained. And as the business got bigger, now we've got our own trainer, and it just keeps working. And it just all because I stopped doing treatments. It'll just keep growing.
And using the same parenting analogy that I just sort of, or the story we just spoke of, I think, people have said to me, were you ready to have kids? And I was like, I don't think anyone's ready to have kids ever. It just kind of happens and then you deal with it. And I think that's the same approach people should be taking with getting off the tools. You can always find an excuse to stay on the tools. Oh, I don't trust my staff yet. They're not ready yet. They're not trained enough. My clients will leave. I can't afford to lose any revenue. You could come up with a list a mile long about why you can't get off the tools yet. But I think it's one of those things where I don't think you'll ever be ready. You just have to make that leap of faith and go, I'm just getting off, and this is it. In 3 months' time, this is my plan. I'm going to cut my days down, and I'm just going to do it and start to focus on the business. Because, like you said, there's no one driving the business, and you can be in a car with your foot flat to the floor, but if there's no one driving it, you're going to end up crashing, right? So I think it's such good advice for people.
And that's what I felt like. How can I keep going, being everything? I couldn't keep doing everything for everyone, the clients, the staff. At night, I could put relationships on hold, and you're cutting wax strips on your carpet, and I just thought, I just didn't breathe. Macquarie Skin and Day Spa back then, but now having the right staff, having the right tools, the right policies and procedures. Like once, you didn't have a procedure manual because you didn't have time to write one.
Right.
So I think having that more time, being able to invest more into your social media and your websites, and it just now I have the time to do it.
That's so cool. So let's talk about your current success. And I'm going to ask you the same question I've asked everybody so far in a roundabout way. Some people doing well, some people are just hovering and humming along. Other people are really finding it tough right now. What's the difference? What's the difference between someone who wins the best beauty salon in the world and a salon owner who's yet to hit their stride? And I say yet to hit their stride because I think everybody has it in them. They just haven't found their groove. They haven't found their own, strategy moving forward. So I guess part of these interviews is to help a lot of people go, okay, there's a theme with these people. There is a theme with these people who are doing it well. And I guess that's what I really want to know from yourself. What is it that makes you so successful? Oh, I've just lost you for a second.
Said this yesterday.
Okay. Are you back?
Back?
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't hear the start of the answer, so if you can start the answer again.
I think I saw C's interview yesterday, and I think that's exactly how I usually answer that question too. You've got to love what you do and be passionate, and then it doesn't feel like work. Like this is my life. This is what I live and breathe to do every day long. I love helping to train other girls. I love to do community work, and I think that's a big part of my success is that I've been asked to run for council twice now. The people in our community love you, and it's because of what you do for other people, and that I don't put myself first. I go out and help the community and the charities. When I'm now in a position I can do that, and so I think if you are struggling, don't worry. We are struggling too. We might look really successful, but we were also trying to work harder, trying to make more money, make more sales. We also have the cash flow problems. It's just we probably have a better way of just. I know for me, someone said to me the other day, "You've got the best life," and I'm like, "That's just because I don't vent the negativity on Facebook." We all have stuff going on, and we all have still business issues, or it might be staff issues, and trying to get the right staff is so hard. Every business owner says the same thing. But I think it's just staying positive and staying above that and being the bigger person, and because if you can't lead your team with a positive mind, how are they going to stay positive? So I think as hard as it is, you've just got to be positive, love what you do. And for me, I just live and breathe my business, my beauty business. Unfortunately, I've chosen to have a career and not have a family, but I met a man that has 4 beautiful kids. So I'm like, I'm the winner. I can do it.
That's awesome. And have you found it hard going from single site to multi-site to dual site?
So hard. Especially when they're in different towns and they're 45 minutes driving apart. And whichever business I'm in the most is actually the one that will do better that day. Like the girls work better when you're there to keep an eye on them and to help them. Like they've got questions, or clients might come in and you can help them sometimes better. I have really struggled finding staff, which I thought I wouldn't. There is a real issue finding qualified beauty therapists and skin therapists in this industry, and the TAFEs and colleges they don't have the girls for us, or men. So that's a real challenge, is finding good qualified staff. And I invest so much into training. We bring out, this year alone, we brought out Jazz Pampling to do brow training. We bring out Faye Murray to do some business coaching. So I'll bring the girls, and then we took them all to Beauty Expo, and all the girls got booked into seminars. We do so much to keep them up to date, but there's just no one. It's so hard. That would be my biggest issue, is 2 salons, getting them consistent, and that challenge of how do you be in 2 places at once? It doesn't work.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that then. It's a subject that I find fascinating, and it's a subject that keeps coming up time and time again. Personnel and training. I don't know where I don't want to say the word blame. I don't know where to pinpoint the issue, because basically across the board, unless you have a group of girls and guys, but predominantly girls, that have been with you for 10 years, 15 years, and I know a lot of the salon owners I've interviewed so far, I've had a team that's just been super loyal forever. If you're going through a growth phase and you're expanding, or you're opening a new site, or, things happen, people go on maternity leave, or, they have to leave for some other reason, trying to recruit new people is incredibly difficult. What's your take on it? Does it start with the fact that they're not vetted very well before they go on course? It's kind of just like, I'll just go and do beauty, and that's the issue. Is it a problem with the curriculum on the actual course? Is it a problem with the testing? What is it? What is the issue?
I think a little bit of everything. My partner today told me in the car driving that it was on the radio, the news, saying how beauty therapy is one of the growth courses at the moment. And I said, I don't know if that's because it's the easy way out for some girls, like they can go do beauty when they don't know what they want to do. So we're getting this group of not passionate, because they don't really want to do beauty therapy. They don't know what they want to do yet in life. So hair and beauty seems easy.
Yeah.
I think the curriculum's a little dated on some of the things they're definitely teaching, and things that should be in the courses aren't, and not thorough enough training to make sure. Like, I'm still interviewing girls, and when I do my trade test, they cannot wax a leg. So I always think, how did you pass TAFE?
Yeah.
It's finding people that are probably, for me, when you've got a business that is, you're so passionate about customer service, it's really hard to find girls that have that same passion for wanting, to do. They don't think that this is customer service, beauty therapy. They think it's, just makeup on people's faces. So we find we've been struggling, because I've been trying to grow a part of the business, so maybe more the makeup side of the business. But those particular makeup artists, they don't want to do skin and massage. So when it gets to that part of the course, they don't want to do it. So it gets really difficult finding skin therapists that want to do everything. And I find the bigger challenge when you're out in the country regional areas, because there is no one to pick from. So you're into advertising and there's just no one even applying. And I see sometimes on the forums there's girls down in Melbourne or Brisbane looking for jobs, and you want to say, come to Orange, come to Bathurst. I rang one of the Melbourne colleges the other week saying, is there anyone that would move? Like, I'm happy to pay for them to move. We just need some good staff.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
But yet you won Best Team of the Year this year.
Yeah, for our Bathurst salon.
Yeah. So how is it that a regional location with slim pickings, comparative to big CBD locations, how do you do it? How did you win Best Team of the Year? How do you keep your team going who, you said that it's hard to find people who are passionate, but how do you find people who are passionate and then keep that light burning, keep that flame burning, and take them on that journey with you? How do you do it in your business?
Really blessed with a great group of girls in Bathurst, and they're fully booked and an amazing team. So we do Keeping them, training is obviously first and foremost. You've got to keep training because that keeps them from getting bored. Because if they get bored, their eyes start to wander, or they want to leave the industry. And so we make it fun. Like, we'll have team targets and like things like, so I'll take the girls out for dinners if, you know, we can get things as a team. We're setting up for Halloween. We've got a Halloween party starting at the moment. So you walk into the salon and there's spider webs, and we've got to make it fun. Like, it might be still a beauty salon, but you've got to make it fun.
Of course.
And having fun events for clients. So tomorrow night we've got a VIP pre-Christmas pack sale. So we'll have, you know, do some fun stuff. And I think when your staff say, Karla, I'll go and help you out in Orange if it's busy, like, I'm not asking my team to work more, and they want to do it. Like, I think, well, that's great. These are girls that actually want to be at work more hours of a day. And just keeping it fun, like taking them away for, they know Beauty Expo is our weekend away that we go down. We'll have a big beauty expo and a, you know, a beautiful Christmas dinner. But only yesterday I was talking to a beauty therapist who's moving to our region, and they have to pay for their own Christmas parties. So little things for me is that I pay for all that stuff. These girls work their butts off. At least I can pay for their Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
Lots of training, like I said, bringing in specialists, giving them more ownership. So asking them for their input and ideas of how they want to grow the business, what products. Like, you know, one of the employees wanted a certain makeup brand. I got it for them at Beauty Expo. So she felt really special. I'm like, okay, you wanted it. This is what you're getting, an opening order for a mineral makeup. And so I think if you can listen to your staff and make them feel valued and appreciated, and always spending time with them, like sometimes it's just the little messages, giving them a handwritten card, you know, we get so many opportunities. So next year there's 4 of us going to a conference in New Zealand, which I invited a few of my top girls that had sold the most for that particular range. A few years ago, 4 of us got to go to America to another conference. You know, if you work with good companies that reward the staff, like these girls get given products from the companies because they're selling a lot of product. One of our girls just sold the most of another product. 2 of us are going to America in December because we sold the most daily superfoliants for Dermalogica this year. And then a video we made.
Awesome.
I know they chose our video. Well, the video I made of my background in Dermalogica got chosen as the global winner. So we're off to have dinner with Jane Werwin, the founder of Dermalogica, in December. And I just think, because my journey, that company was such a big part of my journey as a teenager, to think that I'm now still smashing it out and selling those products like hotcakes. Even, and this is actually a big topic too, the internet. Our sales are still through the roof without the internet. So, you know, if you give your customers the experience, they'll come in and keep buying from you. Like, I see a lot of problems with that. But I think our staff, they've given so many opportunities for their services and the treatments and products they sell.
Yeah.
So it keeps them all happy, working really well.
I think I want to come and work for you.
I know, that's what people say, but it is hard work because the customer, when you win these awards, the customer expects so much more. And that's the hardest thing. I think a lot of the young girls don't get it, is you're coming to work at the best. You need to be the best. So we can only hire the best.
Yeah.
It's hard to find.
Yeah, that's
but we
true.
train them.
I guess it's just, I guess some people, I don't think a lot of people, and certainly I don't think anyone seriously would be looking at it and going, listening to your answer and going, well, Karla, not everybody can be as lovely as you. And, you know, I'm just not that sort of person. And I suppose like an answer to that would be exactly what you said before about when people go, oh, you got the best life. It's because they're looking at the surface, right? And really they're looking at the tip of the iceberg. It really is, that's a conscious effort. Well, it is for me anyway, and it is for a lot of other business owners I know who are, if you're looking after your team, it's a conscious effort to daily remind yourself, hey, I've got to be the best leader. Hey, I've got to put my best foot forward. And, you know, I think everybody has gone through cash flow issues before. I think everybody has gone through times when they doubt themselves. I think everybody goes through times where they go, I just don't want to do this anymore. But the strength of a good leader is the ability to, with all of that underneath the surface, still step into your salon and go, hey guys, I'm here to look after you today. I'm here to be the best leader I can for you today. So I guess my last question for you, well, second last question for you is on that. And how much of that is learned and how much of that is natural? That ability to be able to embrace and nurture and grow your team and really make them feel special. How much is learned and conscious behavior versus how much is natural and unconscious?
I would say, it's a hard question. I've definitely I've learned how to manage people the longer that you're doing it. I think 50-50 for me, because I was brought up, mum brought us up well and different things, it's I would say 50-50, because sometimes it just doesn't come natural for a lot of people. And so it is something you've got to always go, well, I'm a leader, I'm on show, in the community, in my business, wherever. So you have to be always, looking amazing, talking amazingly. Like you've just got to always be it. But I think you'll see that with so many leaders around the world in any industry, or, the Prime Minister, you've always got to hold yourself together and be professional. Sometimes, once I was having a bad night and I was in tears, and I actually videoed it, and I said to the girls, it's okay to not be okay. Like, this is what happens, because everybody through times. And we have our own little Facebook page, and and I thought, no, the girls always see me, Karla's fine. And when we opened up Orange, there were some really tough times. I had to be dipping into my mortgage to pay the bills, and council were holding us up, and it was the sort of the stuff that you don't talk about. And it was really, 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 really dark. And but you wouldn't have known, because I had my poker face on, and you have to show up and fake it till you make it, is sort of what you've been taught. So we got through it. But imagine if I didn't do that, I might not have gone through it, and we might not have a second business, and it might have gone broke and gone under. And you've just got to be that positive person that doesn't got to just do it. That's and right. Now I think, wow, a year on, that business is there. It could have gone totally up the other way. And all because of, a council wanting to throw in all those stumbling blocks and then changing their minds on things. And there is going to be dramas. There is going to be a lot of problems, but you've just got to be the bigger person. And someone said to me, why don't you go to the media and tell them what's happening to you in this town? And I said, no. I said, I'm not going to be that person. I said, I want it to, I want our clients to come to us because they love us, not because they feel sorry. Yeah. And our staff, they needed to see that it wasn't all dark and gloomy as well. So I think, 50-50, some of it's obviously taught to you, and my mum's always taught me to be the bigger person. What comes around goes around. I always believe in karma and those sort of things. You get out what you put in. So I'm a big believer in all of those things. And I think your staff will channel that. So if you've got a negative mind, your staff will become more negative as well. So, I think it pays off being positive. Just always look at the bright side of things. All those typical sayings are so true. And I look at what I've got now, and my babies, my business babies, and all my girls. I consider my staff more like sisters or young. Well, now some of them are more like they could be my daughters. But when I look at their ages, I go, But it's been an amazing journey, and I think you've just got to be positive, because good things happen.
Yeah, that's so great. And my last question for you is, in a very short sentence, what is the formula for success? If you have to put it, I know most people don't remember their algebra days back in school, but A plus B equals C. So C is success. What is A plus B plus C or whatever? What are those ingredients?
For me, obviously passion, training, time. You have got to put time into your business if you want to see it grow. It does take time. And don't forget to have some time out for you, because you can only be the best person you are. Because
I just lost you again. I'm sure it'll come back in a second.
Something that we're trying to.
Could you just repeat that answer, Karla?
Yeah. So I really feel having passion for your business, taking time out for you. I can't remember what the second one I said before was.
Training.
I think training, time, and I think just loving what you do. And I think when it's so much, it's like every relationship, business is the same. If you're happy with who you are and you love you, and you're happy with your business, it's just going to flourish. And, I don't watch what others are doing. I just try to be the leader, and I find that really interesting. That people always say, "Oh, have you seen this?" I go, "No, I haven't seen what they're doing. I don't really care." But I think just focus on what your business should be, and what your vision is, and what you want to how do you want to stand out from the crowd? And that's what I normally do. I just follow my heart. I think that's
so good.
Some days I wake up and go, "Oh, that's our promotion. That's what I'm going to do." It's not always by the book and by the yearly plan. And some people are really planners. for me, it's just an idea comes, let's do it.
Yeah, that's so cool. So this will be shared on the XY Buying Group page. It'll also be shared on my Billy Rickman business page. And lastly, it will also be shared. It'll be uploaded onto YouTube, and it'll be shared. The reason I'm going to this is because it will be shared on the Dermal Therapist group as well. If you're not a part of the Dermal Therapist group, it's Dermal Therapists sharing ideas. And the reason I say that is because I think once I post this video on there, you're not going to have a shortage of staff. I think you're going to have people contacting you saying, how can I come and work for you? So I think your staffing issues may be fixed.
I always think with people, they want to live in the cities, which is great, but it's so much more expensive to live in the city and you don't necessarily get paid more. So I think, why wouldn't you want to work where you get higher pay and less overheads? Like, you don't have to, the rent is cheaper out here. You can go on holidays more often when you live in Bathurst and Orange.
See, this is why you're going to all those trips overseas for selling so much Dermalogica, because you're so good at bloody selling. And I think you just sold people on a job in Orange and Bathurst. So Karla, it's been... What was that, sorry?
And if that doesn't work, there's always the wineries and amazing restaurants out here.
Beautiful. I'm coming down. Hey, so it's been absolutely wonderful interviewing you today. It's really, really fun. I have so much fun doing these, and honestly, I just get inspired every time I speak to somebody like yourself. Congratulations on all your successes. This will be uploaded onto YouTube. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's Billy Rickman on YouTube, and I'll share it across some Facebook groups as well. Thanks for your time today, Karla. Again, my pleasure doing this with you today, and I look forward to seeing all the successes in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.